Progress is a very misunderstood word world over, in India as well. If you ask a bunch of educated people, has India progressed in the past 70 years? Has the world progressed in the past 70 years? You'll get a lot of colorful responses, none of which are rooted in facts. Do you know that global poverty has been reduced by a factor of 9 in the past 7 decades? And still, when you ask people that do you think poverty has increased or decreased, people have this illusion that the world is in a state of gloom and doom and everything's coming to an over. We live in a golden era.
Absolutely.
This is the time for change. This is a time where India is a young country. India is, as many speakers earlier today and in the past have highlighted, this is a time for tectonic change. This is a change where our culture is evolving, our philosophies, we are questioning basics. But most importantly, technology is at the fulcrum of many of these changes. Yesterday, I was addressing an organization, a non-profit organization, that works with underprivileged kids who cannot afford to go to school because they need to pay for their pay to feed themselves, and who are out of jobs because no formal system is ready to hire somebody who doesn't have a school or a college degree. So this particular organization was dealing with people with the absolute bottom of the economic pyramid. And I asked them, they had put up a talent show and they were being given certificates, that before I began my presentation, do you think that India today was better for you or were your parents when they were 20 years old? Every single person said India today. So let's remember that where we stand, it doesn't mean that we've solved all challenges and it's a time to party. It is a time to recognize that we have moved inordinately, taken inordinate steps in the right direction, but we also have a lot of challenges to solve. So now let me tell you what I believe is the most important shift that will define where we are going to be in the next 5 to 7 decades. It's going to be through education. I run a mentoring and career navigation platform called Network Capital. We've partnered with Niti Aayog, the erstwhile Planning Commission of India, to see what can happen when you fundamentally change the classroom experience. I think in India we suffer from what you call the profound McAuley hangover. McAuley wanted to create a class of people who were English, who basically Indian in blood, Indian in color, but by and large English in taste and conviction. In other words, he was basically trying to create a bunch of polite receptionists. And I feel that we are at a time where you need receptionists to do their job, but you need to be a country of innovators. So how do you do that? And why I say that we suffer from the Macaulay hangover is that if you look at the board examination question papers, one question is, what is the speed of light till 8 significant figures? I don't know why this question was asked, but it sure as hell was not to inspire innovation or creativity. Now let's look at textbooks. There is a textbook, like all our cultures give a special privilege, position of women. But a textbook reads, Ram Patshala Ja, Radha Khana Paka, which basically is Ram, go to school, Radha cook food. And if you look at different analogies, it just keeps going on and on. So in textbooks, in our examination systems, in large part due to the Macaulay hangover and some of the other structural challenges that have been there, we've ossified creativity, we've ossified innovation. And despite that, we have taken leaps and bounds into the future and we're shaping it. So through our partnership with Network Niti Aayog's Atal Innovation Mission, the government has built what you call tinkering labs in schools. And these tinkering labs have been built in a public-private partnership model. And these tinkering labs are not where you're asked what is the speed of light or does Ram go to school or Radha. But these are gender neutral, I would say, temples, mosques, and churches of innovation and creativity. They're filled with IoT devices, 3D printing devices. People are taught coding, and standard 6, 7, 8 to 12 is where you'll see children, bright children of all religions, cultures, convictions come there and spend time honing their creativity. And that's where I think the real magic will happen. So we will be sending, or we are selecting and training mentors to go to these tinkering labs. And mentors are people like us. I fundamentally believe that every single person has something to learn and something to teach. It doesn't matter what your religion is, what your culture is, what you believe in, but every single person has a certain skill. So we find what the person's skill is and match and send them to that innovation lab, that tinkering lab. And when that person goes to the tinkering lab, what happens? Magic happens. Because you're bridging the classroom boardroom divide. Imagine scientists who've been trained abroad and who come from different countries are going to these tinkering labs and sharing whatever insights they've gleaned and working with kids to see what can happen. And these are the kids who you will see will not turn out to be McAuley's dream of becoming receptionists or creating Indian receptionists. But these are the people who will marry their entrepreneurial energy with their creativity and solve problems on the ground. I began my remarks by saying that we live in a golden age where we've made inordinate progress. We were a political experiment in 1947, and we are, I would say, the beacon of hope for the world. But we have many challenges to solve. Some structural, some in the way we are organized, and many systemic challenges that we are facing it, partly because of the McAuley hangover and other things. And the challenges are aplenty, and we need these young tinkerers to channelize their energy into solving these problems.